this right now. Okay. My name is Doug Scheer. I serve on the board as well as work for Wendy because she's our executive director. What's the official title? Executive director, right?
Yes.
We have David Costanza. He's a board member as well, and he is on today. And what laundry rooms are is a time for us to get together and talk about business, technical questions, business questions. It's a chance for us to get together because Zoom is making this possible. What's going on in your business? What are some of your challenges? What are some of your ideas? It's a chance to brainstorm and see if we can maybe help us get unstuck in some part of our business that we might be currently in. This mirrors a brainstorm session that happens at ASTI every year, our annual convention. When is the ASTI convention this year, Wendy?
It is January 19th. Starts on, January 19th through that week in Kansas City.
Kansas City and Brussels. So that is our annual convention of about 900 of us come together. We stay at a really nice hotel and we have 2 or 3 days of great training classes, keynote speakers. Ginny Seeley, she didn't have anything and now she has a multi-million-dollar business. No, that's overselling things. Sorry, Ginny. Sorry, Ginny. Now, every year we leave ASTI, we come away with some great ideas. But during ASTI, we like to brainstorm. Maybe not something so structured, just what's on top of mind. And that's what we're trying to mirror here in the laundry rooms. So to get the ball started, let's talk about things that are in our way or things that we've just accomplished. What would you guys like to share or ask questions about?
Well, the topic is gearing up for the busy season, right?
It can be.
So we just hired our third technician.
Third
And he
technician.
just started today.
Are you nervous?
No,
Got it.
no, my husband is awesome. He's gonna do great training him. So we already have another great technician he trained. So not nervous at all. It's gonna be fun.
And how long have you been in business, Ginny? The Calvary Appliance?
Almost 4 years.
Yep.
And this is our first time. I don't know if other states have this. I imagine they do, but this is really exciting with this new hire. We're working with workforce development in the state of North Carolina, and we're going to be reimbursed 75% of what we pay him for his training period. So that's huge. And I don't know if that's available to other people, but we didn't even know it existed. So maybe somebody else could benefit from knowing that. So I just wanted to share that.
That certainly helps the P&L and the budget, doesn't it?
Yeah, usually if you get in touch with your local workforce development organization, I know that is available in Florida. There are ways to do that, and it's for that training period, like she said, especially for skilled trades. They do that. So they're called different things in different states, like the actual organization that does it. I can put that. Maggie, can you help me remember? We should look what that might be called, a common way we can find that for all our members.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a barrier, like getting started, because there's a lot of steps, but as long as you ask all your questions and get all the steps, we just had to delay his training a little bit. So that was frustrating, but in the end, it's going to be really beneficial for the business. So.
You mind if I ask you a follow-up question, Ginny?
Of
She never says no. That was just me just trying to catch her to say no finally once. But how I was just meeting with a group of appliance owners last week, and they're booked out a long time. So, but they're hesitant to try or struggling to grow and add techs. What inspired you guys to decide to add another technician?
Well, we've been kind of booking out a little bit, and we know that the busy season hasn't fully started yet. So we knew it was going to get busier for us. The beach is nearby, so a lot of people come and open their rental houses at this time. So we know it's going to pick up there. And also we want to start working towards getting Joe off the road a little bit more. And so that was for us, but the workforce development thing makes it a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely tempting for Joe, maybe when it picks up and the calls are just overflowing and you're in the bathtub with service tickets all over the place. And for Joe to maybe just go get the money instead of working on the business. So do you have a strategy and a trick to get him off the road to spend time on the business?
The cattle prod.
The cattle prod, is that how you're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It took a lot just to get him to take off on Thursdays. But he gets out a little bit later most mornings, so that'll just take some pressure off of him. But yeah, it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for everybody that is a technician first and then a business owner.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this is a transition for you guys for sure. Anyone else in that transition phase or stuck or challenged or um, doing well in that transition of trying to come off the road a little bit more or altogether to work on your business? Anyone have any victory stories to inspire those who are on the fence? It is tough to navigate blank squares, but I am good at this. I mean, we can do this. Um, what else? What's going on with you, Brussels? Where are you at right now? What are you trying to achieve this year with your business?
I'm in Alexandria, Louisiana, and as I shared with you earlier, I've been at this work front at 40 years now. I am more of, and you guys probably don't deal a whole lot with this from what I'm understanding here. I'm a warranted type guy. I deal with a lot of manufacturers. GE, I used to do Maytag, that just dropped me for some reason, but Whirlpool, GE, Frigidaire, Electrolux, all those guys, I do a lot of factory warranty work. But I work alone, which is kind of a challenge down here to hire somebody because most people here that know anything about appliance, they're pretty much doing their own thing now. And several times I have hired people and got them trained pretty decent. And as you probably think, they just jumped out and started doing their own thing because I guess they see where it's been more beneficial to them to do their own thing as opposed to working for a company. And I understand that too, but that's pretty much where I'm at. And I'm an older guy, as I share with you. I'm 62 years of age, so I'm not looking for a whole lot more work. I'm looking for a way to try to ease out of some of this hard work. But I kind of enjoy the work. I've been doing it for pretty much all my life. I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I appreciate you being here. You know, with the busier times coming, we look at our phone systems and trying to get the calls answered. What are some strategies that you guys are doing to make sure that people aren't sitting on hold too long or giving up, or how do you guys manage your call volume while the season starts to pick up?
We have something maybe regarding phone calls. We are in Los Angeles, right? And it's really a struggle to get people to book. Everybody seems like they are price shopping all the time, like price shopping. Okay, I'll just call the next, and we find it hard to actually book somebody to.
But explain to me why. For the simple fact, because people here they're doing free estimate all the time.
Yeah.
If you're providing home service call fee, people they just no.
And I guess the market here is saturated with so many people that do appliance repair. One-man shows and the family businesses and the big companies. It's just all over the place. So, and
Yeah.
you guys have any, advice?
insights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. Go ahead, David.
No, I was just going to jump in and, you have kind of two options when it comes to price shoppers. You can either drop your price or you can increase your value. Those are really the only two ways to go. And the question is if we don't want to drop our price, which we don't, we're offering a professional service, right? And we'd like to think that we're more professional than the alternative. So the question is how to add value. And I think that's something you got to look internally and say, hey, how do we add value? One example is, do you have the best reviews? You know, if you have better reviews, people are willing to pay more for your service. Do you have a more organized truck? Do you have a better facing truck? Do you have better facing advertising? Is your website nicer than the other companies? All of these things go into the decision-making process of your client. And, you know, they have to decide, you know, will I pay more for your service than everybody else that's going to be less expensive? I think all of us on this call can probably say, because we're part of UASA, that we're one of the higher priced options. We understand our cost of doing business. We understand, you know, what it takes to be a professional company. The question is, are you demonstrating that so customers know to pick you over an alternative?
It doesn't seem like they care. They care about the price. They don't care about how you look. We definitely look. We're small family business. We have one truck with a branded, beautiful truck. Everything is inside, branded vehicle, branded uniform, clean. We have everything on
Strong
hand.
Google profile.
Long, almost 300 5-star reviews. They don't care. I mean, some people care, and whoever cares stays with us and call us back. But struggle to book these new customers.
I mean, you have to ask at that point, is that your customer? You know, if you're doing,
No, definitely, but we do need work. So yeah,
sure,
definitely. If
you know,
if
if
doesn't book
if
us,
you know the cost
it
of what
won't.
you're doing, the cost of doing business, and you set your prices accordingly, the bottom line is you can't do it for less or you'll lose money. So you have to stick with your pricing and say, hey, we're charging what it costs us to do business, and that may be a little bit more because I do have a professional truck. But you have to believe, and the numbers bear it out, that when you have a more professional operation, you can command more money. So it's just about looking inside, seeing where you can portray that better. Sometimes it's not about how professional you are or aren't, it's how you're portraying it. You know, is that website showing you in your uniform, not some blue guy in overalls, you know, some guy in blue overalls? Stuff like that is important. How are you portraying your family business? You know, I have my kids answering my phones. What I mean by that is in the recording, I've got my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, and my 9-year-old all answering the phones in the recording when they first call. Again, it just demonstrates, you know, that we are a family business, we're a professional business, and people comment on that all the time and say, oh my gosh, you know, I decided to pay a little bit more because I love that your family is involved, and use that stuff to your advantage. You know, if you're a small family business, use that to your advantage. You're going up against these, you know, big companies and these one-man shows. And I think there's nothing wrong with a one-man show or a big company, but you know, if it sounded like you were more of a family business, use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I will say, just to put perspective here, but I don't want to give it too much weight. All right. I have heard that in California, it is incredibly competitive. And there are a lot of guys, chucks in a truck, doing it for dirt cheap. And they do nip away like little piranhas at your market share for sure. So you definitely are in a tough spot. But I'll tell you that, you know, I've been doing this a long time and I've serviced in my area. We've got the very rich and the very poor. And what I've come to find out after 40 years is that they're cheapskates in all of those areas. And so when a technician comes to me and says, I'm not doing well compared to my KPIs, and it's because you're sending me to this area. If you would only give me this guy's area, I would do his numbers. I'm old enough, wise enough, and bald enough to know that that's not exactly the truth. So there's definitely some inner workings to do. Lately I've been thinking about it like this. See, during COVID, there was the volume of need was so big that we didn't actually have to be incredible to get that appointment booked because there was so much volume of work. Now it's all about being amazing. And so for us, your CSRs and the script are critical to getting people to commit to you. And you got to get those CSRs when they're on the fence. This is hard to teach, right? When they're on the fence and they're like, let me think about it. I'll call you back. You know, you've got to come back with one more. Right now, the owner of Action Appliance, his name's Jay. He says the Hail Mary. That's the Hail Mary before they hang up. Something that you can do to hook them. And I think that's pretty critical because I think about it like this. If your technician went into the house, diagnosed the problem, determined the problem, looked up the part, gave a quote, and then looked at the customer and said it's going to be $500 to fix it, and the customer goes, "That's a lot of money. I'm not sure." All right, whatever. Sign here, collect the service fee, and leave. That tech didn't do enough to meet with the customer, make that connection. Same thing goes with our CSRs. They've got to make a connection. That's what these customers are looking for. That's what David's talking about, bringing that little charm in of his children, recognizing this isn't some big lead gen corporation, you know, dredging the bottom of the ocean for leads, but it's an actual real local company. So definitely look at your CSRs and your scripting and making sure you have really good people doing a great job collecting those phone calls.
Doug, what's your CSR's Hail Mary?
Well, if I told you that, Jay
I
might
want to hear it.
fire me.
I wanna hear
I can't give away trade secrets, George.
I'm about to call Action Appliance.
You're gonna play hardball and get our Hail Mary, George? All right. Hey, listen, it's anything that you think is valuable about your company. Okay, anything that you think of. Like George, you're family owned, right? So, you know, you're gonna say something like that. Before you go, I just want you to know that we've been in business this long and that we're family owned, you know. Some things in that nature, what added value things, what special things about your company, that's the Hail Mary. They need to know that about you.
Is it ever a discount?
I don't know. I mean,
You say, hey, well, right now, ma'am, we are running a 10% discount, you know, because our service costs $149. You know, we're the highest in our area deliberately. We have a retail location. So if customers want to come in and show their butt, they can. So, you know, that's worth something in my book. So whatever we found out, I didn't even go off a cost of doing business, which is what you should roll off how much your truck cost is. I found out whoever the most expensive was in our area, and I went $25 more expensive than them. I said, hopefully our cost of doing business is cheaper than that.
Yeah,
So
create a Google form sheet. You can make it the George formula instead of the cost.
yeah, so
let me ask you
whatever.
something, George. Do you make more profit on sales or service?
We're a really sales heavy business, you know what I mean? So obviously ours is sales. Our sales is 80-20. You know, we're heavier sales than we are
And then
service.
profit margin.
If you're
Profit
talking about
margin.
per transaction,
Yeah.
I'm still sales heavy. You know,
Okay.
we do sales, but we do open box as well, you know, scratch and dip.
Yeah,
If you're talking
and-
about new in box, then you're probably more profitable percentage wise on service.
So think about it like this, George. This is how I look at it. The customer is calling because before they did that, they either popped a couple Tums or did a pros and cons list, like, oh man, my appliance is broken. What should I do? And if they're actually on the phone looking at a service company, that means that they swayed to the side of, I think, I hope, I believe, maybe it should get fixed. But they could still be on the fence. So when people call us, I can hear when I listen to the recording calls the difference between a cheap person looking for the best price service fee and the person who's really struggling to figure out, does it make sense to get it looked at or not? I don't know. And they're looking to, our CSRs can't figure that stuff out. I can't, but they can't. So what about for you, George? Your Hail Mary would be if someone's on the fence about booking an appointment, that you would make that service fee partly like a credit towards an appliance sale. So that
Yeah, for us, you know, they pay the $149 for a service call. If they decide, you know, they don't want to go through with it, $40 of that goes towards replacing the appliance through us.
Yeah.
You know, so we feed it right back into the sales department. It kind of helps ease the fact that their compressors failed and they don't want to go through with the $1,000
there you go.
job. you know.
So that's it, George. The guy that's on the fence, he just heard your CSR say 149.95 and they're about to hang up. The Hail Mary for you would be, okay, before you go, I just want you to know that in the event that it can't be fixed or you decide not to, 40 of that goes to it. Make sure that gets said every time
Yep.
because you
Yeah,
don't
and I
know
don't
what
think
that
our
customer.
you're right, and I don't think our CSRs are doing that, so
That's
I'm
your Hail
gonna,
Mary, George.
I'm gonna send an email right now, and it's gonna be titled Hail Mary.
Get it done. Yeah,
I'm about to, Doug. Thank you. You've inspired me. I appreciate that.
this guy's I've been in like 4 meetings with him today. He's always in his car driving. I don't understand like what's going on, George. Well, how about
That's my office from away from office, you know.
uh, don't want to hog all the time. Anybody, any thoughts on the that interaction of the customer and your CSR? Anything more exciting to talk about?
How do you guys handle it? How do you guys handle technical support? If you needed some technical support from a manufacturer that you're not factory authorized through, how is there a way around that to deal with tech support?
Yeah, you
With the
become a Mr.
manufacturer.
Appliance franchise, right? Then you get all the tech supports in the world, Stuart.
Sure, we use that. We also use the UASA library. All of our service professionals have that on their iPads, so they can go right in and find all the material they need right there.
Damn you, Stuart. I was trying to make poke and fun about Mr. Appliance and you shamed me as a board member.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. We have a great technical library, Brussels, that we've been collecting for years, and we have a librarian that updates it on a regular basis. And it's one of the added values of becoming a member of UASA is you can come right to our website and you have a technical library there for you. But you know,
That's good to know.
yeah. But you also have it. Do you have a Marcone account? Because
yes.
I believe they have tech support through
Oh, yes.
MSA as well. And you can
Okay.
also buy them too, right?
And there's a lot of companies that offer it for free. To be honest with you, you don't have to be an authorized servicer. And some, like for example, Service Matters or Electrolux Service Tips, you can pay a small amount to have that access. Russell, I'm happy to provide some of the contacts I have. If you want to email me or send me a message, I'm happy to provide a list of the tech support sites that we use.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
free
that's
one.
fine.
There's a big
That's
list of
fine.
free ones. Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to find your
just,
email address.
I'll throw it in the chat, but just so you know, Russell, there's a mix. There's people on here that just do warranty work. There's people that just do COD, and then there's people that have a nice mix of the two. So we're definitely a well-diverse group.
Right. That's good to know. Good to know.
Eric, did you have something you wanted to share?
I was just going to go back to the call volume thing, how we handle call volume, and I think, you know, we put a lot of effort into making sure that we get as many calls answered as possible. So our phone systems through SES, we use their AI agent. We actually also have an answering service that we use. And so that way people can actually talk to either our AI after hours or to a live person after hours. We do text, we do, you know, basically we try to open up every stream possible for communication so that customers have, you know, the fewest amount of barriers between a broken appliance and a fixed appliance as possible.
Yeah.
So I was just going to comment on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. In the world of growing your tech size, Stuart, if you were to start over again and start your own business, what would be your basic outline of sort of watching as you hire a tech in training? And, you know, what would be some of your bullet point things you'd be watching for? And when do you think it's best to cut your losses when you see red flags pop?
So for me, first off, it's personality. I can't teach you to have a good personality. Your mama did that, and there's nothing I can do about it. So if you've got some mechanical ability, I can teach you to repair appliances. It's that being that good person. So when I look to hire, first off, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that person that's a good fit and a good person. We send them out not only with a lead tech, but we'll also put them with some of the other techs so they get to know everybody. They get to see different styles. One of the things you got to understand as a trainer is I have my way of doing things. You know, I might start at point A, go to point B, go to point C in order to get to the end point. Someone else might do it differently. They might go to C first and then go to B and then go to A, but they get to the same place. As long as they're doing that safely and not damaging the customer's appliance or hurting themselves, that's okay. So you got to see how they do things, and like I said, just make sure they're a good fit. From there, once usually that takes about a month or so. Once I realize they're a good fit, that's when we see about formal training for the greenhorn, whether it's SSG Academy in Atlanta or Master Samurai or whatever. That's when we want to really hone their skills, and then send them to ASTI every year, maybe PSA, depending on what state we're talking about. But to me, the most important thing is that they're a good person and they've got that little bit of mechanical ability I can work with.
Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts on that? But you're actually potentially 3 months in before you make a decision.
Yeah.
That's expensive,
I
Stuart.
got a quick thought.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Along the thread with interviews, I heard this recently from a guy who does a lot of private equity. He said when he's like interviewing, if someone does incredibly well in the interview, it's a big flag for him because in his mind it's like, how many interviews has this person done? But if they're nervous, it's not an immediate X because he knows maybe they are good.
Wow.
So it was just kind of an interesting thought.
What a curveball, Tyler. You
Yeah.
just shook the whole house. Like, what? We're supposed
Yeah.
to be looking for the Yeah. I don't know if I completely agree, but I just heard it only 10 seconds ago, so I've got to think about this.
Well, he's done over 300 million in business. So
But he might be a big bully too.
he
You don't
might
know,
be.
right?
You might got a point there.
I will tell you that reading Tommy Mello's book, The Garage Door Guy, and there was another book that we read in Up Your Business. Who's that author? Up Your Business. Somebody Anderson. And actually, I was listening to them. So Tommy Mello is like a mafia guy with like pumped guns. That's what you hear when you listen to his book, and he says it all with piss and vinegar, and he's pretty choosy, and he really wants to see that applicant fight for the job. First time I heard of it when I read Up Your Business, and I thought that seems a little aggressive. But when I heard Tommy Mello do it, and I'm not a Tommy Mello looking kind of guy, I think he's right. Matter of fact, I used to say something kind of silly that I've decided I'm not going to say anymore. And I would say it in the interview. Everybody trains at a different pace. Everybody learns and adapts at a different pace. And as long as you have forward moving progress, I'm gonna support you and back you. And some people can get on the road in 3 to 4 months and be making great money by the end of the year, and some might take a whole year, as long as there's forward moving progress. But what I realized I was doing is I was spending all Jay's money at Action Appliance because it costs money to interview and train them. And so I really want people that are hungry, that are really want to learn and not, spoon feed them along, because 8 months goes by and you find out that they're overwhelmed by the job, maybe anxiety. That would have been a nice, because you can't fix that, by the way. So it would be nice to have known that earlier in that trial period of 6 months. And worse than money is time. Because if I've got somebody training, they're using resources and people. So I've kind of switched gears, and I've gotten pretty good at pulling the trigger a little bit quicker, in love and kindness, by the way. So that's been my style. There's only so many years left. Look at this hairline. It's going all the way back. If I want to get to 29 techs, I might be completely bald by then. So I don't have the time to wait, 11 months or something to find out somebody isn't going to make it or not, So anyway, if I offended any bald people, I apologize. So now you have techs on, they like it there, they're making you money. What are some sort of incentives, some KPI incentives? What are some ways that you guys pay and incentivize your technicians to do a great job for your customers? What are some of those approaches? You guys don't incentivize your technicians? Really?
I'm trying not to talk too much, Doug.
Well, Maggie hasn't said a thing at all today, but do you guys think that if you put your technicians on commission, that you've incentivized them? Would you call that an incentive approach to paying your technicians? And how many of you have had success with commission as the ultimate incentive for your technicians? Go ahead, Tyler. Tyler's a number guy, by the way. This guy knows all his numbers. He wakes up saying numbers, and then the thought catches up with the numbers. He's brushing his
I
teeth.
wish I was that good at numbers. I
Yes.
know a handful of numbers.
Yes.
And I try to stay away from too many metrics. I actually had a note on my list to do is remove any metrics that wouldn't change a behavior in what I'm doing. And it's
That's
just,
good.
yeah. But sorry, what was the question?
Well, I mean, how do you have technicians, Tyler, or you're not one?
Yeah, I got 2 guys outside of me.
So how do you incentivize them to represent you the way you want them to be in the customer's home?
I haven't pressed hard in that area. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask. One guy, I wanted to keep him, so I gave he'd been with me for a time, and he was really good at what he did. He actually surpassed me in skill set because I started running the business, and so I upped his hourly pretty high, and kept him on. Another guy, he does commission, and he's on full commission. The way I do that is it's kind of like a draw method. If he makes more than 800 for the week, then he makes the commission. Otherwise, he makes the 800. But that's all I'm doing right now to incentivize. Then we sell service plans to customers where it's like a full warranty for all their appliances, and they get like a recurring bonus of like $5 a month per service plan sold. And so it allows them to kind of stack up that way. But in my opinion, that's not a ton to really drive someone. It's just kind of, it's nice. So I haven't done a lot of pressing into how to properly drive technicians and keep people around. My thought off the top of my head is go off of intrinsic value more so than extrinsic motivators like money. But that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I mean, it was a bit of an eye opener. If I take the fleet of vans and the insurance policies that go to it and the payroll taxes that you have to pay on top of what you pay your technicians, it's a lot of money. And it eats up the piece of your pie for sure, right? How does the Mr. Appliance world integrate KPIs in measuring whether they belong there or not, Stuart, or do they use those KPIs to incentivize technicians to get better?
So you got to remember with Mr. Appliance, we sell the franchise. We work with the owners. Their technicians are their employees. It's up to them. So we're looking at the overall company profit instead. And yeah, we talk, well, I mean, we have plenty of data first off, so you can see how all of the service professionals are doing across the country. We have enough analysis to show pricing and that sort of thing. We have programs like wellness program, business to business programs that we offer to help drive business. And each one of the franchise business coaches talks with their individual franchises and make sure they're producing. If they're not, we check with the marketing team, make sure they're marketing properly, make sure all their licenses are involved. We have things like ASTI and all that they can get for a discount because of our membership. Make sure there's plenty of training out there for them. So, I mean, it just depends. We try to so many are different. You know, you were talking about commission and stuff. We have some owners that are still on hourly salary, some that when they get to a point, switch them over to commission, and some that start straight out at commission. We have some owners that only hire technicians that were already in the business. Others that don't want the bad habits of those older technicians, want somebody green that they can teach their own way. So it's tough across the board with us trying to compare us because of that.
You know, it's kind of cool because what you brought up gave me the visual, as Mr. Appliance gives so many training tools and processes to help them succeed, especially since sometimes they've never been in the home service business. So you're coaching them up. But when you spoke about how you help them, you're looking at the 1,000-foot level, the
Yes.
revenue in and the expenses out at the end of the year or at the end of a quarter, the half year mark. And when you see a number that's not great, you now have to dig in and dive in to where it is. So could you imagine if you could figure out what your break-even point is per truck? And that way you can figure out, hey, on day 20, I'm actually making money now on that truck. Can you imagine if you were able to do that deeper dive and find out that you've got a technician by the way, we run our businesses on feelings all the time, believe it or not. You can be in denial. I rarely see Eric show his feelings. He's always got the same look on his face in every meeting I've ever been with him. But like literally, our feelings can drive us. And if it's like, oh, Joe has been saving the day, that territory that we have that's an hour away, he's been up there, covering the calls and getting the job done. He's gosh, he complains a lot though, and his refunds are high, and his walk rate is high, and his callback rate is high, but he's getting it done. And you go to bed at night feeling good. But if you start to do the math, you might find out that you're not making a single penny covering that northern area, and that can go on for a year, 6 months, 2 years. I'll admit it. I brought someone back that shouldn't have been here a second time because I was like, I need techs, right? So now we know what our break even is per truck. And then from there, with personalized KPIs, you can track which part of that technician's experience is flawed. He's really slow and he's not getting enough completes done. Or his walk rate is over 45, 50%. That means literally half the calls he's going on, he's not selling a single thing or doing anything but collecting a service fee. Or when he's all done his refunds, he's given back a quarter of his revenue every single month in refunds. That gives me a chance, or our team a chance, to individually focus on each employee and try to see if you can fix that number. Because if you find out that you're not making money with that truck and that tech, you're going to get frustrated. Imagine what the tech must be feeling if he's not being paid a high hourly rate like Tyler did with this guy, right? Hopefully he's bringing you a return on your investment, right, Tyler? But but if he wasn't, or he's commissioned, he's making a terrible pay. He's frustrated. You guess what he's doing when he goes in the customer's house? He's oozing frustration. That's gonna just stick to the customers. The customers aren't gonna have that great experience. So it's really important to know your truck and your tech and know their numbers. And so I'm still trying to figure out. That's why I was kind of hoping someone was going to give me the silver bullet answer for me. Still trying to figure out the best way to incentivize each individual technician based on KPIs. Is it a percentage? Is it a flat amount? Is it Eric has some KPIs, but yeah. So anyway, that's my
You mind
thoughts.
if I jump in, Doug?
Yeah, go right in, my friend.
No, I believe really strongly in that you should incentivize your technicians to line up with the goals of your company. I think an hourly pay structure in our industry, and this is just my opinion, of course, is kind of counterintuitive to what we're looking for out of our technicians. Do we want our technicians to spend a long time at a customer's house, make mistakes so they have to go back and spend even longer so that they can earn more money? It doesn't make much sense. We pay much like I think it was Tyler that said, we pay them a guaranteed salary, and anything over that they make in commission, they get paid on top of their salary. I just feel really strongly that, our goal as a company is to complete as many calls as we can in the timeliest manner that we can. So I think that paying the technicians anything other than a performance-based pay is kind of not aligning with our company and what we want to do. And providing good service is part of that too. If our guys cover one territory, so it's kind of their goal to nurture and grow their territory. So providing good customer care so that they can stay busy during our off season is, kind of put on them.
It's like an invested partnership, right, David?
It is. We pay on the profit. So we don't pay on the labor, the this, the that. Whatever the profit is on the job. So if we go out and we charge $300 and the part costs us $20, they're getting paid on that $280, a percentage of that. So, and every tech is the exact same pay. And when a tech comes to me and says, well, I'm more experienced, why don't I get paid more than the other guy's percentage?
He switched to sign language. It's awkward when he does that. I don't know why he does that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. No, I was saying, you are getting paid more. It takes, what takes you 20 minutes takes a new technician 2 hours. So you're getting paid more naturally because of your abilities. So it's kind of a great way to incentivize technicians to do more training, get faster at their craft, get better at their craft, so they're not going on callbacks. And I love a performance-based structure.
January 2024, someone who graduated from an electrical school interviewed with me, and he was pretty shrewd. He was above average for sure, Tyler. So I probably should have fired him. No, I didn't. But what happened was he kind of said to me, "I know what the electrical world pays, and the steps I have to go through to become a journeyman and be licensed there. Tell me about your industry." And I told him about the industry. I told him how we did it. And so that was January of 24. Right now, probably by the midsummer of last year, he was our best producing technician. So he still doesn't know everything, but he has a desire to know everything because he doesn't like wasting his time. He doesn't like letting the customer down. And so right now, this first quarter, I mean, he's on track for a hefty 6-figure salary. And can you imagine if I hired him and I had some sort of incentive step program or hourly program where he has to kind of take his time to earn that? And that doesn't seem fair to him. And by the way, it's just like unleashing him. And so he's the best at signing our customers up with our membership plan. He's one of the top 3 in our walk rate. Of course, his average per call is going to be great. And he uses the blue book and he charges the right price. And he spends the time he needs to spend with the customers. So he's almost perfect. I'm not going to tell you his weaknesses because then that's me trashing him. But he is a near perfect guy in less than a year. I found that out. So he's going to make great pay. Ginny, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, David, so you don't have a minimum salary at all? It's 100% commission for you?
No, we have a base salary. So
Okay,
every technician starts out at a base salary. So whatever they make above that, they earn in commission. As they regularly make above that, we will raise that base salary just so they have a more consistent paycheck. But that's only once they're surpassing their base salary in commission on a regular basis.
okay, that's what we do. I missed that piece of it, but we also are meeting with our technician, and if he's not making more than his base salary, then it's a problem. And so we're talking to him about how he can strategize to make more money and how he can get things done quicker. And he's extremely social and very friendly with the customers. So probably he's talking too much if he's not making enough money.
Mm.
So just, that gives you a chance to let them not starve, but also coach them if they're not beating it by a good amount.
Yeah, 100%.
It speaks to you and the technician about their status, right? On the situation. So that's interesting. So any tips and tricks on how you keep employees from leaving you and going to greener pastures? What's some ways to do that?
Just give them equity.
Equity. Tyler, I'll come work for you if you're giving out equity, man.
No, I gave one guy equity, but he earned it. But he also bought it. But I don't really hand that out.
Yeah. Yep.
Can I ask a question on just kind of
Of course.
correlated with what we're doing with the technician stuff? Do you guys also offer performance based for CSRs? And if so, how do you do that?
Is it okay if I share what we're doing?
Absolutely, Ginny.
Because we're kind of new at this, so I would like some feedback too. So our our office admin, she sells a ton of our memberships, and if she sells it to them when she's booking the call, then they're allowed to apply it to that immediate call, so they have their service fee waived. So she's been selling those, and we give her a 10% commission for every one of those that she sells. And she's doing great. And we have now a couple of new ones that are even more expensive than that. And she's already sold a couple of those. So she gets really excited about the chance to make more money that way. And then we also do extend profit share to everybody on the team once they've been here for at least a full year. So she'll be able to participate in that as well. But I'd love to hear other ideas.
While people are building the courage, I will stop when you raise your hand. But I will tell you, I think we should be a little leery about incentivizing any employee, but a CSR, if they do their job, right? We want to make sure that we don't give them more money because they did their job well, right? But you could incentivize with other things, gifts and prizes and time off and things that matter, but be careful not to pay them for doing what we're asking them to do. Ginny, with the memberships, that's a great thing. I know, Tyler, you have one. Technicians, you're expecting them or you want them to sell it. Can you imagine if you add a second layer of the customer hearing about it and having the opportunity to say yes? So we're doing the same thing. And currently our office staff is now like neck and neck. So I have about 20 technicians, 19 technicians, and I have 6 office staff, and every single week the office staff nearly outsells or signs people up for membership than the technicians do. So I kind of want to bully them in the tech meeting, but even though I'm pretty sarcastic and throw stuff out there, I'm holding back, you know. But it just goes to show, and they love that. Now that's above and beyond their job, in my opinion. So we do pay them $10 every time they sign somebody up. So incentive there for sure. Also, CSRs can get burnt out, Tyler. So you have to be aware of someone who's been with you a while. They may be looking for something else in the company to do. So you'd hate to lose a good employee that knows your company, your culture, and everything so well. So be on the lookout for that to make sure you don't lose somebody good thinking they've reached the ceiling or capped out. Anyone else have anything to share? It's like talking to my teenage children. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
No,
All
I
right.
think there's power in contests. You know, you're mentioning not paying people too much to do their job. We run contests, probably they're month-long contests. We do like every other month, and incentivizes the office and the office or the tech staff to get reviews, to sell maintenance plans, to I mean, we put all sorts of different metrics, first call completes, whatever we want to focus on for that month. And we try to change it up all the time. But you know, our office staff, the first place prize is usually $500. And it's something that they really fight for during that month. So it's kind of a cool way to spotlight what we're looking for. And, you know, even on the off months, they tend to keep up the same behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, Gary's comment, David, when you say off time or the slower season, save a call if you have a walk and your CSR reaches out to them and gets the customer to go ahead with the service and give them a percentage of the call for saving it. That's great free money. What an awesome way to do that, right? To have your CSRs reaching out. That's really good stuff right there. Dispatchers. Now that's something that I've been trying to understand. We all do appliance repair, but yet we all do it so different as I get to know everybody. Dispatchers, I feel like they should be extremely incentivized, because if they can maximize your schedule every day, your revenue numbers will be impacted hugely. And I've had that experience with mediocre and average dispatchers, and then dispatchers in the game, maximizing every single day. Still haven't figured out the best way to bonus my dispatcher, but he's the game changer for us. Anybody have any dispatcher experience? Like, do all your CSRs dispatch? Do you have anything that you can help me with on that?
Have you gotten to know your dispatcher? What age is he? What's important to him? What's not? It might be that money's not the thing that's important to him. It might be time off. It might be trips. It might be maybe he's got a new child and they really need, you know, money for baby items and stuff. I mean, and that's, I mean, if it's great, if, you know, when we're talking about incentivizing with monies, that's great if that works.
Yeah.
But I always see such a diverse workforce between older techs, younger techs, and it really, money's not always the driver. So
That's right.
getting to know them and know what would drive them.
That's a very truthful statement. As a matter of fact, I feel like my dispatcher's become a very good psychiatrist. He has to know because there's 19 different personalities. You got to know who's hungry and who's going to say yes to another call and who's going to give grief and complain, and are they venting or are they really upset? So I feel like my dispatcher has come a long way in understanding people. I mean, he still has, we still have bodies get buried somewhere from him. But, well, we're at 4:56, and we should wrap up before Brussels starts his new meeting. It was a pleasure hanging out with all of you guys today. 2 more weeks, we'll have another one. We are moving in the direction where laundry rooms will be available to UASA members. Just want to give you the heads up now about it, just because it's important. This networking, I can think of at least 4 or 5 occasions sitting in a laundry room and leaving inspired, or brainstorm session at ASTI, leaving inspired and coming away with an idea. Often it's George's idea, which isn't that great, but then I tweak it and make it great. And then it had an impact on my business. So for sure, a laundry room, a webinar, they're very valuable resources that UASA offers. And so I just wanted to begin to tell you guys that that'll happen, that in case you aren't a member, that you didn't feel like we quit and left the country or that we're mad at you. We just want to make sure that you all become UASA members. I think that's it. Thank you all for your participation, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.